Pack your gear and bundle up. It's a frozen fight for survival today. We're trekking back to 2006 to see if the brave pups of 8 Below can melt our hearts. We're watching another movie at Grandma's house. Let's dive in. Hello. Please come in. There's some fresh cookies in the cooking jar. There's a pitcher of Kool-Aid on the counter. Make yourself comfortable. Welcome to Movies at Grandma's House. I'm your host, Isaac. I didn't even swing.
This is Seth. Went down looking. That's still a strikeout.
Oh, this is going to be an interesting one we're going to be talking about today. What is Grandma putting on for us to watch today?
8 Below.
So if you have not seen this movie, we're going to be breaking it all down. So consider yourself warned. We are going into spoiler territory. Well, let's get a little bit more about this movie in the film facts. So 8 Below was released back on February 17th, 2006. It had a budget of $40 million. The box office, $120.5 million. Looking around at some reviews, IMDb sits at a 7.3 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes is a 73%. Letterboxd, 3.3 out of 5. Currently, as of this recording, you can watch it for free on Disney+, Amazon Prime, and Tubi. It stars Paul Walker, Bruce Greenwood, Jason Biggs, and probably one of the most unique names, I have to say, Moon Bloodgood. It's an association with Walt Disney Pictures and Spyglass Entertainment. And last but not least, we have to hear, how is Grandma gonna rate this one?
Granny's family-friendly rating for 8 Below is a C+ for intense scenes and some mild language.
So we're going to be talking about that at length, but we want to hear from you. If you have seen this film, make sure you comment down below your memories, your thoughts, and how you would rate 8 Below. We appreciate hearing your memories and your thoughts. Well, let's go back. Again, this was back in 2006 when this was first released. So I'm interested to hear, what are your first memories with the film?
So I don't recall my first viewing, but I did see this a long time ago. So yeah, it had been a bit, yeah.
I'm admit I have never seen it up till this point. So this was my first viewing, coming back to it, kind of giving a little bit of the expectations. But yeah, I never saw it. I saw the previews. I can recall trailers, some people saying they saw it and they seemed to enjoy it. But I don't know, just whatever the reason was at the time, maybe it wasn't my cup of tea. This is more of a survival, that kind of a movie. Coming from Disney, again, we're going to talk about it more. It's just interesting that they were the studio behind it. But yeah, this was a fresh take of just kind of coming back to it. I've never seen it before. So With that said, though, interested to hear, what was your expectations going back on the rewatch?
Really just to sit back and take it all in, try not to cry.
Yeah, I heard this was an intense movie, so my expectations was I hope I can enjoy this, and it's not too much for the kids. I always watch movies with my kids, so obviously they're a good indicator if this is going to be family friendly, those types of things. So I was just like, I hope this is a movie, despite the material, the story, what I'd heard about it, that they can enjoy it too. Well, before we get into the plot rewind, let's pause just a moment to hear from our sponsors. Hey, love movies as much as we do? Then bring the experience of the theater to your walls with movieposters.com. Whether you're into the classics, the blockbusters, or indie gems, they have something for every single film fanatic. As a listener of our podcast, you can save up to 15% on your order right now. Just use code Grandma's House at checkout. Head to movieposters.com and let's build your ultimate collection today. At this point, I think VHS was really not as popular as more of a DVD. So let's take the DVD out. Let's put it in the DVD player and press play.
After an expedition, Jerry Shepherd is forced to leave his sled dogs behind due to an extreme snowstorm. Will the dogs make it on their own? Find out at Grandma's. Wrap yourself in a blanket and get comfy.
Okay, so first impressions, this is taking me back. It's got Paul Walker. It's kind of bittersweet to see him in different roles, but I was really drawn in by actually Paul Walker, his character. Just something about the way he handled the dogs, and and the landscape. I just thought it was really pretty. Like the settings in Antarctica, the way it was shot really actually pulled me in. And we're going to jump into it more about the story, but start with you first. What's kind of your first impressions as you're starting to watch this film?
So it really it every time I watch this, I can't like I forget just how special it is, like of a movie. Um, this really is an epic adventure with great cinematography, like you mentioned. The shot locations, the just the way the angles of the different shots were so pretty. I guess just the different directorial choices. It's just amazing what they were able to do. So honestly, my first impressions were how well it was shot.
I'm with you. Yeah, I'm not a winter person. I'll go on record saying that. I just don't like driving in it. I don't like getting cold. But I mean, how can you not find it beautiful? Just the snow and the landscape. If you can just watch it and not feel cold, like this movie does, you
Crank
can
up the
be
heater and grab the blanket, right?
exactly. You could be in a well, heated room with a blanket, and you could watch it and enjoy it. I mean, it's just gorgeous. Like the wide shots that the mountains, and when they're trekking, you can see them going through. Oh, it's just breathtaking. It's just amazing how well, like you were saying, it's shot and it tells the story that way. I got to hand it to him. The director did a fantastic job on that. I was drawn in just in admiring the view, so to say. I mean, there's a lot into this film, and that's where I think we're going to really jump into is the danger, the peril that this movie is about. That's what it is. Because in my mind, looking back on it, I think it was more of like, yeah, it's more on the serious drama movie, but it's fun. It's Paul Walker with dogs. No, no, no. It's actually pretty, I don't know what the word I'm looking for. Just intense, I guess, would be one word that comes to mind. I mean, what is your thoughts on this? Is kind of loosely based on a true story, but the thought of survival for dogs. What did you think of that overall?
Well, I mean, it's a different kind of movie. It's a different kind of Disney movie, like you said. Actually, it had been long enough that I kind of had forgotten the seriousness of it. I had written down it's not a complicated story, but it hits you in the feels. So Jerry has to take the doctor on a trip to find a new rock formation, but there's so much more to it. And seeing like you said, the survival aspect of the dogs, your first thought is they're not going to make it. I mean,
Yeah.
then I guess it's the way it's shot too, because you're left like they're abandoned. They're not going to make it without, the owner or someone taking care of them. And, I don't know, like you said, how much of it's reality and, what they were able to find, forage for and, hunt for. But, it's truly an incredible story about survival. And, even though it's dogs, it shows their fortitude. I mean, they didn't want to give up, and that's amazing.
Yeah. I'll admit, like, this is a kind of like you're talking about, kind of a like layered plot that
Yeah.
it starts out with this doctor wanting to explore and find this rock. I think he said it's some kind of meteorite that could change their research. So he's very determined to find this rock. They trek out and gets called in that there's a storm coming. So they actually need to come back. He gets half a day to look for some more, is able to find the rock. So they push it literally to the last minute because he ends up falling into ice, gets kind of hypothermia, breaks his leg, but the dogs help get him back in time. Paul Walker gets like frostbite on his fingers. It's very severe. So in that mind, you're like, oh, this is what the movie's kind of about. That's where my mind was going.
Yeah.
Oh, they're going to get stranded in this storm.
Yes.
And it's going to be up to these dogs to save Paul Walker. Jerry is his name. And the doctor, his name is, I believe, Davis McLaren, the one that's wanting the rock. That's where my mind was going. But then they make it back. And I'm like, oh, okay. Maybe it's more about the storm is straining them at the base. Then they leave the dogs. And I was like, oh, this just took a much different turn than I was expecting. So that kind of drew me in a way, because now I'm like, I want to see what happens with the dogs. And, spoilers galore, not all the dogs make it. That's what makes this such a serious tone movie, like you're saying. Were you expecting that? I'm interested to know, were you expecting that kind of a story the first time you saw it?
So honestly, if I remember correctly, the first time I saw it, I had seen a trailer and it was not that dramatic.
Mm,
If memory serves me correctly, I'd have to go back and look at the trailers. But
yeah.
what I had in mind going into the film the first time I saw it was that it was going to be this fun, loving movie like you were describing, Paul Walker with a bunch of these dogs, these beautiful dogs. And it's not that. It's
Mm-mm.
not that at all. It's very dark. There's in my mind, there's three moments that really stand out as far as intensity. The one that you brought up was very scary. Seeing him about die, and then with the dogs, like you don't think that going into this, it's PG. You don't think that a Disney movie is going to actually show dogs, fading away, but they
Right.
do, and it's heartbreaking. Like
Oh
I
yeah.
said, it hits you in the feels. It hit me really hard.
I don't know how it doesn't, to be honest.
Yeah.
Especially if you're an animal lover, you're really attached to animals. This is going to be a tough. I'm not saying it's distastefully done. I think it's well done that it doesn't show like graphically what happens to him, but it
Uh-huh.
still shows it. I mean, it's not like, oh, you can kind of assume off
Uh-huh.
screen something happens to them. It starts again. So they get they're outside on a chain, and what happens is they need to get the doctor to more medical help. So that's why they leave so abruptly. And Paul Walker too, because again, he's got the frostbite, and he originally wanted to stay with the dogs, but they're like, no, you need to go. You're going to get worse if you don't get help. So Paul Walker's character, Jerry, he's already kind of like, I don't like this, but I'm going to go. Then once they're at the other base, we can't go back because the storm is so bad. And that's where it's also, you're talking about intense scenes. But for me, it's like I related to Jerry, his character, because later on in the film, he's like, I can't sleep. I just can't deal with this. And that's like, yeah, if I was in that position where you made a decision of leaving these helpless dogs, yeah, I mean, it just make you sick. It's just that type of a story. Is that how you feel too? I mean, I think you have to.
Well, to add on top of that, I mean, he's got history with these dogs.
Yeah,
We don't know how long he's been training them, but they've saved his life countless times.
yeah,
And so he feels like he owes that to them.
yeah.
And it's like a tribute to the dogs that he goes back and finds them. You know what I mean? Like it's a light, like a, what's that word I want to find? I can't think of it. But anyway, yeah, it's just very different Disney film.
Very different, just deep. I mean, we're just scratching the surface of like
Yeah.
not even getting into that journey because the dogs go on a journey. They end up, most of them get freed, and sadly, that's the first dog that dies. Is Jack? He's older. They say he's about 10 years old, but it was about 4 or 5 days on their own. So that's the other thing I have to hand it to. It does a good job of showing you how long it had been since they were left. So it was about 4 days, I think. And by that point, he was probably starving and old. So it's like, man, this is getting really deep for a Disney movie. And Maya is kind of the top dog. She's the one that leads the pack. Like she's trying to help him, but you can just tell he's given up, and it's heartbreaking. It's just like, I
Yeah.
know these are dogs that are acting, and that's where I have to hand it to them also. Whoever trained those dogs are just fantastic as well, because a lot of this going from the one storyline, you think it's about the doctor and Paul Walker and dogs to, no, it's just dogs being left on their own and surviving the elements. They did such a great job. It drew me in just how they're their own characters. I mean, there's close-up shots of Maya. I'm kind of getting into it more deep, but it's like not even with a word or spoken. They're barking, of course, but nothing like spoken. You can tell what they're thinking, like what they're
Yeah.
going through. They're interacting with each other, and I keep going back to it. Gives you those homeward bound vibes, kind of like what we've talked about. But you're talking, Michael J. Fox and Sally Field voicing over and telling you what's happening, which was a good job. This does such a good job in a different way. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it really, with the dogs, it couldn't have gone better. I mean, they did an amazing job. I got some fun facts about that I'll get into later, but yeah, I just, it's amazing to me what they were able to accomplish in this movie and make it realistic and make it look like this is really going on.
Right. Yeah. they get injured. The other heartbreaking thing is just, my God, oh man, that just gutted me, and it gutted my kids. My kids were just in shock. Like, I mean, it's telling a story. It makes it realistic. You don't ever want to see an animal that happen, but it was realistic in a way. Like, they see the aurora borealis and they're playing, and then it's Dewey, it's one of the twin dogs, falls and is mortally injured from it. It's just so heartbreaking. And that's what's one of the more intense parts, I think, is because the twin tries to lick it and get it up. It's just like, oh man, this is taking me back to Disney's pulling at our heartstrings differently. There's Lion King, there's all these films, but those are animated. This is real life depicted, and it's loosely based on a true story. I'm sure you're going to bring it out in your fun facts a little bit more, but you're trying to, like, wow, this is something that, even though there wasn't witnesses, this is probably a fiction of what really happened to the dogs. It's still heartbreaking. Like, if that's what really happened in that way, it's just, oh.
And to jump on what you're saying, you connect with these dogs, and it's amazing because when you start this film, like you said, it doesn't have anything to do with the dogs, and you are abruptly into their personal lives and, like, rooting for them, cheering for them, and then feeling for them when they suffer, and it's just so well shot. I mean, it's not all the cinematographer; it's directorial choices. This was very different than anything I've ever seen.
I agree.
And I really, really enjoyed it. I mean, I spoiler alert. I mean, it's, how could you not? I mean,
it's a different kind of experience. I mean, we're talking about, it isn't intense and it's sad, but you jump to the end, it's not a doom and gloom for all of them. It's just sad that, again, the older one, Jack, he kind of just, towards the beginning, Dewey, as I mentioned, he falls, and then Maya does get injured because they come across an orca. And that's the character, is it Max, the one that's the younger of the two? Am I thinking?
Yes. Yeah.
I kind of like that. Like, Jerry says he's young, but I've got a lot of hope for him. Like, that kind of leads you to, okay, he's probably going to be important later on. And sure enough, he is a distraction from that leopard seal. He rips off some of the orca to distract it so the others can eat. Unfortunately, the seal sees him, comes back and injures Maya. And that makes you think, again, making it realistic, like, oh my goodness, is Maya going to make it? Because you already witnessed what happened to the other dogs. But thankfully, again, spoilers, she's okay. It leads up like she's going to potentially die too. But Jerry and them, they get down in time and rescue him. But it's just, I mean, it's an intense movie. Maybe for kids, they're going to be a little back with the dogs unfortunately dying, but it's still got a happy ending for the most part when it's all said and done. But yeah, I mean, we could go on about the dogs, but we didn't really talk too much about the human characters. I mean, what'd you think about it? There's obviously Paul Walker, but what are your thoughts on the other characters involved?
Well, I gotta say, it's bittersweet for me with Paul Walker. When I watch any of his movies, it's very bittersweet for me, for him to pass so abruptly due to a car wreck. I think you said it. He does a really good job pulling off this character, and he's a very good actor. A lot of people don't give him credit because of the roles that he chose didn't show off much of his range, but he's a good actor. He's very believable in this role. And I wanted to say the supporting cast was amazing. You could bring out the others if you want to. The dogs, I'm glad we talked about the dogs because the dogs were the movie. I mean, you don't think about it at the beginning. Like I said, it doesn't look like it's going that direction. Mm-hmm. And then what you said was, it looks like it's going to be about the two surviving and the dogs maybe helping them along the way. It's the opposite storyline. And that's just like, it almost pulls at your heartstrings even more if it makes sense.
Absolutely.
The way they shot it, at least.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, the dogs are the stars for sure. Yes. I can't again go back to like just the way they, you feel like you're with them. You know what they're thinking, what they're going through. Yeah. And they're outside of like the seal, that scene again, that's kind of an intense scene. The CGI on that's a little dated. We're talking 2006, but everything else is well done. Like the part where they're catching the seagulls for food it looks like
Mhm.
they're really catching birds. It wasn't like some CGI birds flying around. Maybe it was, but if it was, they did a great job compared to other movies I've seen CGI on. So that part is terrific. But going back to the characters, I mean, again, Paul Walker, I will argue the movies that I've seen him in, this is probably one of his best roles. I will say, if people say, well, he's not that great of an actor, I can get that. Some roles he is kind of one dimensional, exactly like you said. Maybe he isn't showing off as much. This one he does. I felt the intensity when he's yelling at the dogs, in a let's go command way, not yelling at them,
Mhm.
yelling at them. But I felt it. I felt those like connections that he had with the dogs. That's why I think this is one of the better roles I've seen him in. I will point anybody that says, hey, he's okay. I'd be like, you got to watch this movie because I felt it. The scenes where he's kind of got that weight on his shoulder of leaving the dogs behind. Those scenes are so you just blink and miss them. But the way he portrayed it, just even in his facial expressions, I mean, it's I can't go on enough about Paul. I was thinking to myself, I had notes galore. Just Paul Walker did an outstanding job in this one, but Jason Biggs is a great
Yeah.
comic relief. He has some great lines in this one. You have Davis McLaren, the doctor, that's played by Bruce Greenwood. He's great. I mean, he's kind of that doctor. He's kind of got an arc too, where he's more focused on himself and getting the rock, but then he learns about the dogs. He sees that picture with his son that says the dogs rescued him. So I really enjoyed that. Like he felt that
How did
regret.
that make you feel?
Oh, yeah, it hit me.
Oh
Yeah.
man, that hit me hard.
And it was great
like,
acting on them.
I was like, I don't know if I can
Yeah.
finish this movie.
That's a great way to put the best way to describe this movie is it's got that, you know, the intense, but it's emotional. It's an emotional movie. It's not going to be like super happy. I mean, the ending does make you feel good, but it's not going to make you happy. That's probably the warning I would tell people. Don't expect this is Paul Walker playing with dogs all movie. This is,
I would say like 70% of it's like frustrating. You know what I mean? Because you're
yeah,
kind of like left in the dark as to what's going to happen. And you're rooting for Paul to make it back to the dogs. But it's very intense and several different scenes in different ways. It's intense. I
right.
did want to say real quick about Paul Walker, not to harp too much back on it.
Now go
The
for it.
scenes where he looks away instead of staring at the characters,
Yeah.
you feel those moments. Like
Yeah.
he's legit. He feels that energy, and like it's not acting. I mean, he's in those scenes. Like he's like living those scenes, and I was blown away. I mean, I've seen him in countless movies. But yeah, like some of those scenes were just so like, wow, it left me stunned.
I'm with you. Like I said, I put down. I mean, I haven't seen like all of his movies, but I would say the ones that I personally seen, this is if not his best, one of his best roles in terms of acting. I think he just fit the part real well. He came across to me. It wasn't faked. It felt genuine. Like he was a dog person. Like he really cared about these dogs. He goes and visits the one guy that originally bred them. And he even says, they recognize when there's a dog person. And that was believable. It wasn't like, no, this actor is just phoning it in and he doesn't feel like he's really a dog person. When he said that, it really matched Paul Walker's character. So, yeah, I can't go on enough about it. He just did a terrific job. And
Yeah.
again, it's unfortunate with his life being shortened, but this is something I think you can kind of look back on and see why there's a lot of hype around Paul Walker. People talk about him. This might be kind of under the radar, but in terms of his acting ability, I think it's up there. So, well, anything else? I mean, there's so much we could jump on, but anything else that we might have missed that you want to touch on?
It's not a fun fact, but I will say this. It is a fun fact, but it's not in my fun facts. His mom pushed for him to do this movie.
Oh, really?
She read the script and was like, you have to be in this.
Oh,
And
wow.
when I read that, I was like, oh, that's like the most touching thing about the movie. Like the fact that,
Yeah.
because he was actually releasing another film that year. And I had read some misinformation about how he turned down a role for a Fast and Furious movie for this movie. And I looked into it and I was like, well, that's kind of misinformation. But then I looked in deeper and they're like, yeah, his mother pushed him to do this film. And I was like, wow, that's really heartwarming, to know that he did it because of his mom. That's pretty cool. So, yeah.
She saw that character, so that's really neat. Yeah, when you
Yeah.
see that connection there, and hey, Hand it to her, to his mom. She got it on. I think I'm trying to think of any other actors, and maybe that's in the fun facts of others. But to me, it's like, no, he matched it well. I think he can be that leading man, and the character, especially of Jerry, being that, he has that connection with the dogs. He just nailed it. I mean, I can't go on enough about it. So, all right. Well, talking about fun facts, I'm interested to hear. So, what kind of fun facts you got?
So the first one I've got is this was based on a true events that happened in 1958 and was originally told in the 1983 movie Antarctica. Now, I've never seen it, but I hear it's very intense. Very, very dark. Because it's more, let's just say they took some liberties with this one to make it more Disney friendly than the actual true story. So let's leave it at that.
We talk about it
unless
being
you want to say
intense.
something. Yeah.
I mean, this has definitely got the Disney stamp on it. Of it doesn't push it. I mean, it's got to deal with those deep, dogs do unfortunately die in this one, but it's not graphic in how it's shown. What you're mentioning there, from what I remember reading about, it doesn't hold any punches. It's much darker and probably more realistic to the original true story of what it's based on, unfortunately. So I do appreciate they didn't go that route. They're loosely basing it on that to tell a good story and make it in good taste, I guess, the Disney way, however you want to put it.
So I'm going to lighten the mood a little bit. So over 30 dogs were used in the filming of this movie. None were harmed.
Good.
So no animals were harmed in the filming of this movie. Everything you see that is harmed, I think, is CGI. And I don't know how they were able to capture that in 2006 so well. But again, it's the director. The director just did an amazing job. Just an amazing job.
Gotta hand it to them. They did a great job. That when the one dog is falling down the cliff, I mean, it was painful, and it was realistic. It was painful because it looked real. And when Maya gets her leg bit, even that was kind of like, whoa, that looks painful and such. But it outside of the seal itself, that's the only knock I'll kind of throw on. But that's a sign of the times. It's 2006. What they're dealing with, but it was realistic on. The dogs and what they were going through. And that's what I think just added to the movie. It really draws you in because it looks believable.
So, I could go into detail about this, but I wasn't going to. But so the filming took place in Norway, Greenland, and Canada. And I can elaborate on that if you'd like to. It's up to you.
If you want to, sure. That's interesting locations for, it should be in our Antarctica. I don't think you're going to be able to go down Antarctica and film for how frigid and cold.
So it's actually because dogs aren't allowed in Antarctica now because they spread germs and viruses to different animals.
Oh.
And I forget what year it was, but it's very significant to the storyline when the dogs weren't allowed there anymore, and it's not safe for all the animals. Is what I'm trying to say.
Well, that makes sense. That does make a lot. I thought it was just because it was so cold down there.
No, honestly, I think they would have filmed it. It's crazy as it was. Wow. I think they would have done it. Yeah.
It still looked great, though. I think it was believable. It looked like Antarctica. I know it's just ice and snow, but it looked dark gorgeous. Elements. Yeah. Like it gets dark down in Antarctica, obviously, because it's so far down and not much sunlight. But it did a good job. I don't know. I was captivated by the location, so commend them for the locations they chose.
So it's time for a fun fact trivia question. Are you ready?
I am ready. Let's go.
And you might remember this. I'm not sure, but we'll see. At the beginning of the movie, when they leave the sauna, what temperature is it outside? A, -8 degrees. B, -21 degrees. Or C, -31 degrees Fahrenheit. They're all Fahrenheit.
That's what I was going to say. I hope it's not one of those trick questions with Celsius.
No. I wouldn't do that to you.
Something was telling me they said 30. I would have guessed 34. So I'm going to say -31.
You would be correct. The answer is C, -31. So -31 degrees. That's pretty cold. The feels like had to be like -50 out there. I can't imagine.
You felt it when they were like, ha, ha, ha. I was like, oh, ooh, going from the sauna to that, I'm like, you guys are crazy.
Oh,
So I
yeah,
would not have
that's
done that.
too much, too much, too much. But that's it for the fun facts.
All right. I'm happy I'm getting on a new
Good, you did
streak
good.
going. So
I'm
thank
proud
you.
of you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's great to be back on the winner's circle, whatever you want to call it. So all right. Well, let's take a look around the net. We just like to see what kind of reviews are out there. So Seth, what are you seeing?
All right, our first review is from Matt_Layden. He said, "You can't go into this film expecting not to cry. 7 out of 10."
It's a pretty big tearjerker, I'll say, especially if you're an animal lover. So yeah, can't help but agree with that one.
The next one is Diabolic4 says, "Fun-filled, heartwarming story for all ages. 10 out of 10."
Okay. Really enjoyed it then. I'm sure I saw something that said if you're a husky lover, you'll love this movie. And I'm like, yeah, if you enjoyed the husky breed, but even dogs in general, I mean, despite seeing them go through their trials and challenges, I mean, like you said, none of them were harmed in the filming. So keep in mind, not in real life, that type of stuff, but you should enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. On the brighter side, seeing them interact, it is a lot of fun.
Thank you for bringing out that they're huskies. So majority are huskies, and there's 2 Malamutes, and
Oh, okay.
that's very significant to the story. Yeah, but anyway,
That's cool.
the last one was Dream Angel 8310 said, "Dogs and crying. 8 out of 10."
I shouldn't laugh, but that is so good.
I love it. I love it. It's so true.
If someone was like, "Hey, what's this movie about?" Like, that's one way you can do it: dogs and crying. That's pretty much
And
what you're in for.
honestly, like a quarter of all of the reviews that I read pretty much were about like either crying or how much they love dogs. And that's sums it up.
I can't think of a better way. That was a great way to summarize. I hate laughing at it. It's like it's about crying. You wouldn't think, but that's a good one. All right. Well, let's get down to our reviews. So, Seth, I'm going to ask you, how are you going to rate 8 below? Are you going to take it home? Are you going to watch it at grandma's? Or are you going to hide it in the attic?
So to be honest, this might be the second most endearing live action animal movie we've covered, considering we've done like Homeward Bound and this. With the directorial choices, the cinematography, this movie is absolutely stunning, as mentioned. It's also heartwarming and a true adventure. I can't help but take this home.
Very nice. I think it's a well done movie. I can't say enough how I was thinking to myself, what lengths they had to go to get the dogs in the right position, get them trained to do certain things. Like early on, you see that these dogs are well trained. Maya, she's taking that rope to the doctor while he's in the ice and she's kind of crawling. I mean, that scene had to have taken a long time if your dog isn't trained well. That type of stuff, I'm thinking to myself, there's a lot of effort, a lot of time had to be put into this movie. And I go back to like Paul Walker's character. He had to interact with these dogs. He did such a great job with that. I love the way the story is told from the shots, following the dogs, but also kind of those outside the characters as they're growing. Jerry, wanting to get back to the dogs, but I go back to the doctor, kind of having that change of heart. I thought that was really heartwarming to see that. It's really, I don't know. It's a fun in a different way. Like, I don't know if that makes any sense. It's fun to see the dogs interact and just think of what it took to make this movie. I will say it's a more on the darker side. Like with my kids, it was a little intense at times. One of my kids really liked it though. He was like, I really enjoyed it and loved how the dogs, but I didn't like that, some of them got hurt. So that's the only downside. Just, I guess, fair warning. We've talked at length. This is not going to be your happy ending altogether, but it's still it makes you feel good at the end, I guess is the best way to put it. I'll give it a very highly respectable watch it at grandma's because I could see myself coming back and watching this from time to time. It's one of those movies, especially, if you're in the wintertime, if you're like, get yourself a blanket, if you're in front of a fireplace, that kind of thing. I think it's one of those movies you can put on and enjoy. Probably just not going to watch it all the time because of the subject matter. Maybe for other people's like reviews you brought out, that it's just, it hits for you. But for me, it's like, I think it's perfect coming back to every once in a while and you're going to have a good time. It's despite the heavy themes on it, I had a fun time just watching the dogs and their interactions with each other and their characters. I mean, we've talked about each one is unique. So I can't stress enough. If you haven't seen this one, like I didn't, go see it. And you might have a good time with it. Who knows? Just be aware of what you're in for at the same time too. Not a happy altogether movie. So there it is, folks. We have another movie in the books. This was an enjoyable movie, much different than, again, we've covered. This one was a really well done movie, but just a little more on you think Disney, not like this realistic, I guess. But it was so much fun. Really enjoyed this one. Well, before we wrap up, Seth, why don't you tell the good people where they can find and connect with us?
You can find us on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. You can email us at moviesatgrandmashouse@gmail.com. Check out our great newsletter. We have a newsletter. And we are on Patreon. And we are sponsored by movieposters.com, so use Grandma's House at checkout.
There you go. And a perk of being on our newsletter, you could win a free movie poster from movieposters.com. So if you have not already, we'll have the link down in the description. So be sure you're signed up to get your chance at winning a free poster. We love having that. It's a lot of fun, so don't miss out. Well, that's going to do it for our time at Grandma's house, but don't worry, we will be back soon. So in the meantime, remember to be kind and rewind. We'll see you next time.
Goodbye, everybody.